All the different names and forms are temporarily given to modifications of the essential one consciousness, which is permanent. But in truth, there really are no modifications. The original consciousness just appears to change.
So we will go to chapter 10. It is called the Yoga of Divine Manifestation, where the divine appears. Where is God? What is God? What is the divine? So in chapter 10, let's see what Krishna tells Arjuna. So up to this point in Arjuna, the disciple or the friend, he was actually at that period was Krishna's cousin, and he considered him as a friend. And now in chapter 10, you see the relationship change between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna is now overwhelmed by what he's heard and takes on the role of a devotee and a disciple. So from a friend, he has now changed his whole attitude into a devotee and a disciple. So in Sloka 1, the Blessed Lord said, "If you listen further, mighty Arjuna, I will continue my supreme teachings to benefit and delight you." Now listen, before this, Arjuna was a coward. But what if, and what is this all about? And suddenly, to encourage Arjuna, Krishna is the best psychologist. Oh, mighty Arjuna. He's making him feel confident in himself. He's giving him that energy to trust himself. So he goes, "Oh, mighty Arjuna, I will give you my supreme teachings because now that you are open, I know they will benefit you and they will delight you." And then he goes on to say, "Not even the gods or holy sages know my origin." So there he's giving Arjuna a really big compliment. He said, not even the wise sages or the gods know where I come from. The truth is that I am the source of all gods and sages. I am all of them. Among all people, whoever recognizes me as the unborn and beginningless Lord of everything knows the truth and frees himself from wrongdoing. So right here is saying, those who really recognize me and know the truth, then guess what? Because they know the truth, they free themselves from all wrongdoing. And you go, why is he saying this? Simply, many people, when they do things in life and they feel very guilty about it. Do you remember in last week's chapter 9, he says, yesterday's sinner can become tomorrow's saint. And there are many stories like that. Remember in the Catholic tradition, you have Saul who had a vision, and Saul was angry and wanted to kill people, and suddenly he had a vision and he became Paul, right? So here he's saying, if you recognize me and you suddenly realize who I am, then you're free from all wrongdoing because you become self-realized, in other words. And also, it just shows us that the divine is so forgiving. And many people, when they come to me and they want to change and they want to do good in their lives, but they don't allow themselves to move forward because they carry so much guilt. Their own guilt, their own wrongdoing. And I said, well, God has forgiven you. You need to forgive yourself. Lighten up. Literally lighten up. Now that you know, you won't do it again. Because when you know that you know, guess what? You can forgive yourself because it is everywhere. And if the divine is saying you're free from all wrongdoing by just realizing who I am, who are you to hold on to your fears, to your guilt? Who are you to do that? Don't you trust God? That's why Gurudev said, trust in God and fear do not go together, right? So trust in God and fear do not go together. And then he goes, out of me arise the qualities of discernment, which is wisdom, buddhi, jnanam, freedom from delusion, forgiveness, truth, satyam, self-control, equanimity, pleasure and pain, birth and death, fear, and also fearlessness. So here he's saying, all these qualities come from me. Everything in the beginning comes from me. So what are you worried about? Okay? Also, non-injury, ahimsa, tranquility, contentment, austerity, tapas, generosity, dhanam, as well as honor and dishonor. Throughout the creation, all these different qualities come solely from me. It's all divine in the end. Everything is divine. All these qualities come from me. And then in 6, he says, the 7 great sages and the 4 ancient founders of humanity, Manus, were formed in my mind, and from me received their vitality. The rest of the world's creatures subsequently evolved from them. So what is he talking about? He's talking about, I created the 7 great sages. Now, according to Gurudev's translation, what are the 7 great sages? He says, and I've really researched this, right? Because I was a little confused by this one. The 7 great sages, Gurudev said, is first you got the dimension of the gods, and then you got humans, and then you got the animals, and then you got the birds, and then you got the fish, no, the reptiles, and then you got the fish, and then you got the amoeba, and then you've got the inanimate objects, right? So in each eon of time, and we call this in Sanskrit manvantaras, and this is eons of times, billions of years. They were each of these times or kalpas or periods, there was always a sage, the creator, called Manu, who gave mankind this knowledge. But really, I'm the one who created it all. It's kind of like the Christian Catholic teaching as well. You know, the fallen angel is Satan. But who created Satan? God did. So this is what he's saying, you know. And so really, everything comes from me. So also, according to different texts, the sages also refer to the 7 sages that they talk about in the Upanishads. Their names, I'll just read it to you quickly, but it really won't make a difference. For those who really want to study deeper, you can study deeper from other texts. Marichi, Angiras, Atri, Pulastya, Kratu, Vashishta. Also, there is another 7 mentioned from a different text. And it's the same thing, you know, just different names, which you are not going to remember anyway. But these are the great sages. And for me, and while reflecting and reflecting and reflecting, of all the different stages, from gods down to inanimate object, everything has consciousness. Today, science would say everything has consciousness. So when I read this, I also intuited that the 7 great sages actually really live in our entire system in the human body. And for me, it's the 7 chakras, each one taking us to a different level of awareness, you know, taking us till we reach to the top chakra where we connect with that consciousness. And when we connect to the consciousness, this truth is made available to us. So that is my own interpretation, but I felt that really strongly, that all these things anyway are just of creation, and beyond creation there's consciousness. So again, they're just words to make us comfortable. It's very hard for the human mind, so hard for us to understand that we're energy. So that's what that one means. 7. Whoever truly understands my power and the glory of my many continuing manifestations is certainly established in unshakable yoga, communion with the infinite. So what does that mean? Once you understand it's all divine. Simple story to describe this is the wolf story, right? Good wolf, bad wolf, I'll tell it again just in case some people who haven't heard that story. The grandfather tells the grandchildren, oh, grandchildren, do you know there are two wolves in your mind and they're always fighting? And he goes, really, grandfather, why? And he goes, well, one is arrogant, selfish, always angry, full of guilt, full of fear, and the other one is generous and kind and loving and respectful. Grandfather, which wolf wins? And the grandfather answers, the one you feed most. So the divine is everywhere, in the good, in the bad. And this is why they say, as you think, it becomes. Because if you feed the bad wolf, what will you get? Negative in your life. So if your mind's always thinking negatively, that's what you'll go to bed with, nightmares and fear and anger. But if you're constantly feeding the good wolf, that's how you go to bed. But they're both divine. He's not saying one is better than the other. He's saying they're there. Now the choice is yours. So that's what he's saying. And when you know that, when you really know that, then you don't want to put your mind in a bad place, do you? So what will happen? That realization will make your faith unshakable. It will make it unshakable. So if somebody comes and knocks you and hurts you and does something really bad to you, yes, you will attend to it, but it won't get in there. You will know immediately this has happened, so I can see that it's all divine. This is God teaching me through this person. Either to stay in it or to walk away. But either way, it's not going to live in me. I'm not going to allow it to fester. As Gurudev said, if you fester insult and injury, your body becomes a junkyard. It becomes a junkyard. And in that junkyard, guess what happens? Disease. Have you seen a junkyard? Disease, bugs, flies, everything. And that's what we do to our body when we harbor all these horrible things. You just know it and behave as you should. That's why all the saints and sages tell us, stay in good company so you don't have to harbor these things, because it's very easy for the human being to feel delicate and to feel hurt. It's very easy for us to feel like that. Don't harbor it. So we talk about it, we let it go, talk about it, let it go, and goodbye. But make sure you know it's there, because when you talk about it, just with a few people, and it's there, so you don't go there again. You don't repeat the same anger. You're aware, and you've said it. So when you go there again, your friend will say, hey, there you go again. I thought you said you let it go. Haven't you let it go? They'll remind you. But you need to tell good friends. They'll remind you. So that is what makes you unshakable. But because we're human, we get shaken. I am the source of everything. The wise understand this and worship me with love. So in other words, if you love, you will connect. That's the easy way. Their minds always think of me, therefore their lives are devoted to me. They have even dedicated their life energy to me. When they talk, they always speak of me, thus uplifting one another. They are content and joyful. And this is our job. That's why we have a Sangha, and that's why we work together. Because this is our job as a Sangha, to uplift one another. This is why even Buddha said without a Sangha, it's very hard to go on this path. It's too hard. So that's why we need people to uplift constantly, uplifting us. Okay? And because when you're uplifted, you remember. I'm not this body, I'm not this mind. When you're uplifted, when you're feeling down, you're very much this body, you're very much this mind, and you're very much your own misery. But when you're uplifted in the divine, that's all like, it's just a joke. Life is just a play. We just need to, like you said to me, Jonah, today, I just put on my other costume. And that's it. Exactly. You got my message. You just change costume to play the part. And it's fine. Make it a play. Make it a play of fun. And if you're going to be sad, cry. It doesn't matter. But then when you go to bed, says, I've done my crying. It's done. I'm fine. It was all divine anyway. So I just stick to the love. The love is what gives me energy. And then I become content. 10. There are some who are sincerely devoted and worship me simply out of love. I bequeath them Buddhi Yoga, and through this they come to me. Here he's saying, when your love is sincere, Buddhi Yoga is wisdom. You just know that you know that you know. That's it, done. And you're living in this energy of love. And that's all you know. It just feels great. There's no words that can explain this, but you just feel this amazing wisdom and love. And that's it. That's why it's so important to do things sincerely, not to be fake, and not to be a hypocrite, and not to be people pleasing, and not to too much. And just make it sincere and see God in everyone, but do it for them. Don't do it just for yourself because you want to be famous or you want to be popular. There's too much of this going on in the yoga world today. So many schools do it, and it's all about commercialism. And I think they just they lost the plot because when they don't make enough money and the business is not going well, they get very upset. They lost the plot. And I see it again and again and again and again. You know, what is it all about? In the end, you can't take anything with you. So why are you so focused on that? You know, if you trust, you'll get everything you need. Not every grief, but everything you need. 11. Because I am compassionate, I dwell in your heart, and from there remove the darkness of ignorance with the great light of wisdom. See, I dwell in your heart. And where's the light of wisdom coming from? Within you. And Sri Patanjali, we all know, book 2, do you remember? By the practice of the 8 limbs of yoga, the impurities dwindle away, and there dawns the light of wisdom, leading to discriminative discernment. And this is Buddhi Yoga. This is Buddhi Yoga. You have discrimination in the sense of what to do, what not to do. You understand. You become a solid, strong yogi. And because you are like that, you will automatically have wisdom. You don't have to worry. It will come to you. The sincere person will always get it. And contentment brings you to it. 12. Then Arjuna said, you are the supreme Brahman, absolute one, the supreme abode and the supreme purifier. You are the eternal and divine Purusha. You are beginningless and your presence is everywhere. So now he suddenly got, oh my God, I've just realized who you really are. You are all those things in a human form, but you are all those things. All the most exalted sages and seers have thus acclaimed you, including Narada, sage of the Devas, Asista, Devala, and Vyasa. And now you have also revealed this to me. So here, Arjuna is just naming some of the sages who really understood the divine manifestation. He's just naming them. And he said, now I'm just your disciple. And you are, wow, you're giving me this truth. 14. Oh Krishna, now I know that everything you have said to me is absolutely so. Now his doubts are going away. All the doubts are disappearing. Neither the most powerful demons nor the devas themselves, my Lord, fully grasp the truth of you. He said, not even the gods or the demons really understand you. Why do we bring up a lot of gods and demons in our literature, but so did the Greeks and so did the so that the Egyptians, right? Because they are spirits that hover the earth, you know, they're the spirits of the wind, the spirits of death. Like we have Yama, the Lord of Death. They're energies, they're really energies. But they're still in the gunas, they're still connected to human beings. So even the demons still do bad deeds, and the gods are still after their power, you know. I am the god, so I have the power. So they still have some kind of ego there. There's still that ego there. And he said, they don't even really understand who you really are. And this is why we keep saying we have to go beyond the gunas, beyond good and bad. It's very hard to do, to go beyond good and bad. But if you transcend the mind and you look down at everything, you just go, it's all part of what it should be. So what is my lesson in this period of time? What am I here to learn? You know, what is the great truth, the truth above it all? And you know, like yesterday we were watching some of Downton Abbey, and what the Carson, the butler, said, life is short, death is sure. And I go, yeah, he's a yogi, he got it. You know, because the owner was bleeding and they had to take him to hospital, and everybody was panicking, and his statement so clear, life is short, death is sure. And it's really, it's not being cold, but it is the truth. And if you understand this truth, you try to live well. You're not going to always worry about tomorrow. Everybody that comes to me always worries about tomorrow. And I go, you might not be here tomorrow. I think my late husband gave me this great, great lesson. Because you think things are going to be forever, but you don't know. You know, from one minute to the next, he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, 6 weeks to live. From one minute to the next. So you don't know. So don't worry so much about the future. Live today, this present moment. Make your decisions on today. Of course, you must always save a little bit for a rainy day. I'm not saying don't do that. And you need to be a little careful for the future. But don't be obsessed about it. So obsessed that you're frozen. You can't do anything else. You stay stuck. Oh, but Nalanie, but what if? But we don't know what if. So why even think what if? Just do what job comes. You become very efficient if you stop saying what if. So notice your vocabulary. What if? But. When you hear yourself use those words, what if, but, you don't know. Nobody can tell you from one minute to the next what's going to happen. Yes, you can presume. We can presume this is going to happen. So you be a little safe for the presumption, but don't let your life be overcome with the future, because we really don't know a thing. So, next sloka. You and only you know who and what you are. O Purushottama, Master of the universe, Source and Lord of all. Here Arjuna is just saying, only you know who you are. Nobody can know you. Won't you please now, and without reserve, speak of your divine manifestations, in which you abide, and through which you pervade all that is. So he said, show me. I want to know where you are here on this earth. What you manifest. Okay, so now I know your consciousness. You're everywhere, but explain to me where I can find you, where I can see you, where I can manifest it. 17. O great master of yoga, how should I meditate to realize you? Which of your manifestations, my Lord, should I hold before me? So he's saying, what should I do? How do I meditate? How should I see you? Where? You know, in Krishna or in Duryodhana? Where do I see you? Where do I see you? Which one should I focus on? Krishna, please tell me again in detail of your yoga. I cannot seem to hear enough. Your words are nectar of my life. So, you know, here he's saying like a devotion. Because don't forget, he's in a battle. And he was so full of doubt and so full of pain and so full of anguish because he was in battle with the people he loved. And now he's heard about the divine manifestation. He's told, you know what? It's not good or bad. It's just the way it is. It's all divine. This is your job. So suddenly all that burden that he felt in his heart, all that I'm attacking my family, I don't want to do this, is gone. Because it's all divine anyway. He's kind of like his heart can just relax and let go. Just let go. And he goes, so the moment you feel you can let go and relax, it's nectar, right? It's like medicine for the soul. It's medicine, it's nectar for the soul. Oh, you know what? I don't have to struggle. It's all going to be okay. As Gurudev would say, it's all its form, it's all its name, it's all its deed, and it's all for good. So if that's the way it is, everything's going to be all right in the end. I just have to sit, transcend it all, and keep content and joyful. And fill my heart with love, because all this is for a reason. I may not be able to see it, but it is what it is. 19. The Blessed Lord replied, all right, Arjuna. I will now tell you of my divine manifestations, but only the most evident, because really there is no end to them. So he's just going to give him some examples where he can really see the manifestations. 20. I am the true self in the heart of all creatures. Arjuna. I am their beginning, their middle, and also their end. Just touch your heart for a moment. If you close your eyes and think, here Krishna is telling us, the consciousness, is that it lives in our hearts. And we started from the beginning. And now we're in the middle. And we'll go back in the end. So, don't worry, be happy. 21. I am Vishnu, the all-encompassing light of the 12 gods of light. So he says from all the gods of light, because we're gods of light. You know, I told you that Paramahansa Yogananda used to say, if you really stare, you will see all these lights. And I think I've told you many times when I am consulting somebody and I see these neon blue lights around them, I know that they're looked after, the light of all lights is with them and they'll be okay. And wasn't it interesting today, one of the people that had the Raj Yoga course with us, I can't say her name because I didn't ask her permission, said to me this morning in a message, she said, Nalanie, I don't know what's happening to me. I'm seeing these neon, like blue sparkling lights. And I said, good. She said, I'm going deeper and deeper after the Raj course. I said, good, you're going, if you focus, you'll get it. To the keen and intent practitioner, this samadhi comes very quickly. And I was so excited. I said, oh good, I'm so glad you could see those blue lights, because now you know I'm not making it up. Make everybody see the blue lights so before we die. Not that it's important, but it's just a reassurance. It's a reassurance. It's just a sign to keep you going, on. Of all radiant lights, I am the effulgent sun. You can see me in the sun. And I remember a story. There was a king, and he said to the rabbi one day, he said, Rabbi, I don't know, you talk about God so much, but how come we can never see God? I mean, all this God business, and I don't know if I believe in God anymore. And so the rabbi said, come with me outside. And so he goes outside, and he said, it was a strong sunny day like today here. And he goes, and he said, stare at the sun. And he stares at the sun and goes, I can't, my eyes hurt. So he said, if you can't even stare at the sun, how are you going to even be able to stare at the light of God? Not possible. And then the king understood. Oh, can't, with these eyes, they're too human. You cannot see with physical eyes the divine. Okay, so that reminds me of that story. I am also Marichi, the sage that I mentioned earlier on, Lord of the wind and storm powers. I am the Sama Veda of the Vedas. The Vedas are ancient scriptures, and Upanishads are the Vedas as well. And so he says, I am Sama Veda. There are 4 Vedas, and Sama Veda is one that deals with music and chants and singing. And why do you think music rings with us so beautifully? Why do I always like people to sing at the center and bring music and really do it with devotion? Because of all the Vedas, he's Sama Veda. Read up the songs. And if you go to YouTube, if you listen to people like Snatam Kaur or Ajit Kaur, if you don't listen to them, or Deva Premal, listen to their music. Millions of hits. Millions. Why? Because if sometimes people don't get the words, they don't have Buddhi Yoga, but music makes them, at least for a little while, in a nice mood. And then they forget. It's always best to have Buddhi Yoga so you don't forget, so the music enhances. But sometimes if you can't get it, then just listen to music, because for the time that you are listening, you are feeling better. Because music does inspire us. And then he says, I am Vasava, leader of the devas. Of all the senses, I am the mind. So I am in your mind. And in living creatures, I am consciousness. 23. I am Shankar, who does good. We call Lord Shiva Shankar. Of all dispellers of ignorance, the Shankar is also dispeller of ignorance. I am the Lord of wealth, Kubera. Of all the nature spirits, yakshas and rakshasas, that just means angels and demons. I am Pavka, the purifying fire among the radiant spirits. And I am Meru of the mountains, that means the highest of the mountains. Amongst priests, Arjuna, I'm the divine priest, Brihaspati, Lord of devotion. So he's saying, you can find me in the priest that is really full of devotion. So in our Hindu scriptures, Brihaspati is one that was full of devotion for the divine. Of military leaders, I am Skanda, god of war, and of bodies of water, I am the vast ocean. So that's where you can see me. And isn't it true? And Turtu's here with us today. And she was, in her early days, she used to say, Nalanie, I can't meditate like other people. I can't sit down and meditate. But every morning at 6 o'clock, I take my dogs to the beach. And I go in front of that sea and I meditate. So the divine, she can see the divine manifestation in the sea, the vast ocean, and then she can fill her heart with divinity. So thank you, Turtu, for that example. She's there, so she really, seeing her face reminded me of how she sees the ocean. And she says that's how she sees God. So there he's saying, of all the oceans, I am the body of water. 25. Of all the great sages, I am Brigu. Of all the words, I am the sound Om. Sri Patanjali says, as well, in the sutras of Patanjali, you can find me in the word Om.
The word expressive of Ishvara is the mystic sound Om. Note, Om is God's name as well as form. Because it is difficult to understand anything without a name, Patanjali wants to give the supreme Purusha a name. Even if he doesn't have a particular form, he should have a name, but Ishvara is a limited name. God is also limited, because the very vibrations of the letters are limited. So Patanjali wants a name that can give an unlimited idea and vibration, and which can include all vibrations, all sounds and syllables, because God is like that, infinite.
Because that's where I am. Of all sacrificial offerings, I am japa, mantra repetition. Mantra repetition. He says, of all sacrificial offerings. That means it's a sacrifice. Most people think of sacrifice as a horrible thing. Now, how can mantra repetition be horrible? So you see, if you want to do austerities, don't go starve yourself till you got no energy left, or do something extreme. Just do mantra japa. Just keep repeating the mantra again and again and again, and you will transform. You will transform, because the sound coming again, the japa. So when you keep repeating that word, every time you open your eyes, you will feel that word. That's it. So, mantra repetition. And of all that is immovable, I am the Himalayas. So, I am the Himalayas, the mountains. Any of you flown above the Himalayas? Any of you? Well, we have, right? Yeah, it's beautiful. I flew above it when we went to Nepal. Even on the plane, just to see those vast mountains, when you see those precious mountains and you just feel they're holy. There's a holiness, the beauty. I mean, it is stunningly beautiful that you have to say, God surely lives here. So that's a manifestation that you can feel and awaken that energy in you. 26. Of all trees, I'm Asvata. Now, Asvata tree is also known as the Bodhi tree, where Buddha sat under, where he got enlightenment. It is also called the sacred fig tree. I am Narada of the deva-rishis, sages of God. I am Chicharata of the Gandhavas, celestial musicians. So, celestial musicians. So you see, you can hear celestial music. And I really believe that many of these great composers, when they sit, they just because they're so focused on the music, they get all these sounds going through them, And when you meditate a lot, and I think I've told you all that, I have heard it, and it's not imagination. But especially when my master passed away, and we went there to the ashram for his internment, and the first night after they had totally buried his face in cement, all night long, and it was like a choir. And I was in my bed in the Lotus House in a room with my husband, who was with me at that time, and all I heard was like millions of angels chanting Shiva, 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 Shambho, Shiva, 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 Shambho. It's like I said to my husband when I woke him up the next morning, I said, it is like they were celebrating. Why are we crying? Because that's what made me feel. They're celebrating. This great soul is left that earth and come back to us. So why should we be sad? We shouldn't be sad. That was my feeling. Absolutely, we should be celebrating. It's free from the body, and we were so blessed to have this great saint in our lives. So yes, there is celestial music, and many people hear it. And of all the siddhas are perfected souls, I am the sage Kapila. 27. Born in the nectar of immortality, I am the primordial horse. I don't know if I can pronounce this. Let me try. Chariravas. Sorry about my pronunciation. I think the primordial horse also refers to what we have in our tradition, Pegasus. The horse that flies, Pegasus. And also Indra's noblest of elephants, Airavata. Among all people, I am their king. That's why in the olden days, when somebody was a king or queen, they said they were God appointed. They were God appointed, and that's the reason, because from all the teachings, if you got the position of the king, it was a very noble position. Unfortunately, it's not like that anymore. The kings in those days had to go to gurukulams to learn the yamas and the niyamas and the teachings so that they could go back and treat their subjects that way. 28. I am the thunderbolt of all weapons. I am Kamaduk, the wish-fulfilling cow. I am also the progenitor, Kandava, the love creator. You can all guess what love creator is. Can you guess? Think of a god that's a love creator. Cupid! And we have Cupid in all the paintings, don't we? So if you're in love, Cupid is there, and God is there. God put that love in your heart. Whether you like it or not, boom, you got the Cupid arrow. Amongst serpents, I am Vasuki, king of snakes. I am the cosmic serpent, Ananta. Ananta is a snake in the Hindu tradition, also known as Shesha, who apparently God Vishnu, the creator, the one, the consciousness, lies on this snake as its bed. But these are all stories and symbols. Of water spirits, I am Varuna, the god of water. You know, they say in the water there are spirits also. If you read any of Shakespeare's works, he always talks about the fairy spirits and the nymphs in the garden. And of course in Finland too, right, Jonah? In Finland they talk about the nature spirits all the time. So yes, there are spirits everywhere. I am the noble ancestor, Aryaman, and of all governing powers, I am Yama, the lord of death. I am Praladan, the prince of devotion, born into the demon race. Now in our Hindu, again, stories, Praladan was born into the race of demons. And, you know, like you would say, the fallen angel, Satan, the fallen angel. And he was born into the realm of evil and greed, etc., where they competed with God. But Praladan, when he was born, he just loved God from the beginning. So all his life, he proved, and ultimately when he died, he proved the gods were stronger than the demons. Because his father would say, never, no God can destroy me. And his father was, it's a lovely story, but it's very long. And in the end, the father was destroyed by the love of Praladan. God was in Praladan and awakened that in his father. Of all that measures, I am time itself. I am the king of the animals, the noble lion. That's why we say the lion is the king of the animals, right? And of birds, I am Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu. There's also a bird, the Garuda, that carries Lord Vishnu. 31. Of purification instruments, I am the wind. So the wind purifies. Among warriors, I am the supreme hero Rama. And Rama comes from Ramayana, the story. And if you have a chance, I would ask you to read the Ramayana. It's a beautiful, beautiful text. And this is where we go, Lord Rama, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, the mantra. Because Rama was a perfected human being on this earth. Perfected. He was so good, so beautiful. So there he says, you can see me in Rama. And that's why they use, people, so many people see God in Rama. I am the shark of the sea creatures. And we all know how the shark looks. And of the rivers, I am the sacred Ganges. Again, that's why they say Ganges is sacred. And if you look at Lord Shiva, the Ganges comes from Ganga, the goddess, who lives in Lord Shiva's head and brings forth river Ganges. 32. I am the beginning, middle, and ending, also of everything created. Again, he's saying, glory be to the Father, to the Son, to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the is now, and forever shall be. What's the difference between that prayer and this? There's no difference. One call it the Christian prayer, and here we have it here in the Gita, the same prayer. And in controversy, I am reason itself. So whenever you find there's problems, that's why we need an arbitrator sometimes. He says, I am reason. I'm the one who will make the right choice. 33. I am the first letter A. I am the combining word. And Dandwa. Actually, I am time eternal. Thus, I am the one facing all directions. Brahma. I sustain everyone as I dispense the fruits of all actions. It says, I'm the one that keeps everything going, and I'm the one that dispense the fruits of actions. That means for every action, you have your reaction. 34. Yes, I am also death, who devours everyone and everything. Yet in the same moment, I am the source of all yet to be born. So nothing to be scared of. The divine is death. That's why they say at the last minute when you're about to die to focus on the divine, because that's where you'll be reborn in that realm. Better to be safe, say your mantra non-stop, and then you'll know the divine will take you to the best place ever. So, because at the moment of death, you don't know when it is. But if you repeat something constantly, it'll be the first thing that comes up in your mind. I am the rich person's prosperity. So you see me in prosperity also. Why? Because you see beauty, beautiful homes, beautiful things. Sometimes people think that in order to love God, you can't have anything beautiful, but everything beautiful is divine. Are you seeing? It's majestic, it's divine. This is what we were born in the Garden of Eden. Everybody deserves it. So those who deserve it will have it. So I'm there, see it, enjoy it. And it's true, if you see it, go to a beautiful place, doesn't make you feel uplifted. At least me too. I like pretty. I was telling Les, I like pretty things. I like things that are clean. I see God there. It's just the way I am, I guess. But I really do. I am the feminine qualities, fame and fortune. Look, he calls them feminine. There we are. We have the fame and the fortune. Eloquence and memory, good memory, where you find people who are eloquent, where memory is clear and good. Mental brilliance, perseverance and forgiveness. So there you can see me. You can see me in brilliance. You can see me in perseverance. Those who have the patience. And you can see me in forgiveness. 35. Of all the uplifting Vedic songs, I am the lovely Brihat in the Sama Veda. There he goes again with the song. Of poems, I am the sacred Gayatri. So let us chant the Gayatri mantra right now. Om Bhur Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayad. I meditate on the great effulgent light that enlightens all the three worlds. May it enlighten me too. I am the month Margashrisha. At the beginning of the year, that word means December or January. And of all seasons, I am blossom-filled spring. Well, why do you think we all feel so happy in the spring? Don't we? Everybody go, springtime, the flowers come out. And you do feel divine, isn't it? The sun, the flowers, the trees. Spring, we all think, winter is over, spring is here. Oh my goodness, it's great. Spring is here. Spring, beautiful. And 36. I am the intelligence of gamblers. Wow. If you gamble, you have to be pretty intelligent to win, right? I am the splendor in what is splendid. I am determination. I am victory, and in everything good, I am its goodness. 37. Among the Vishnu clan, that's the clan he belongs to, I am Krishna. So on this earth, because I belong to this clan, to this family, I am Krishna on this earth. Of all the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. I am you, Arjuna, the one that's doing this battle. I am you too. Among the sages, I am Vyasa. And of all poets, I am the poet sage, Ushana. 38. Among punishers, I am the scepter. You know, you always see the scepter as, justice, right? Of instruments of leadership, I am the statesman. The statesman is the one who's supposed to lead us. I am the secret of silence and the wisdom of the wise. 39. I am the seed of all beings, Arjuna. For without me, whether animate or inanimate, nothing can exist. Nothing can exist without the divine. It's everywhere. Actually, Arjuna, there just is no end to my manifestations. Those described are but a few. There's no end. I'm just giving you a few where you can feel that. And you, really in the ones that he described, we can feel it in the spring, in the ocean, you know, in the glorious beauty, you know, the skies, the spirits, you can see it. 41. Whenever you see anything beautiful, prospering or powerful, know with certainty that these qualities arose from but a spark of my effulgence. So whenever you see something so beautiful, so powerful, as you do with a great master like my master, Swami Satchidananda, and he was prospering and powerful. He built the whole ashram from nothing, right? And it was shared with everybody else. So it was so beautiful, prospering and powerful. Know with certainty that these qualities came from me, from the effulgence, from the light, from my light. 42, the last sloka. But Arjuna, what use are all these details to you? Just know that I am the I am. And Moses asked God on Mount Sinai, who are you? And what did he answer? I am that I am. Again, the same. And that I support the whole cosmos with only a tiny fragment of my being. And this is really a tiny fragment of what is truly consciousness and divine. And we're just here on one planet called Earth. And there are galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies and planets upon planets and planets. And we're here grumbling over, why did you do that to me? Oh my goodness. You know, this is why reading scriptures just makes you elevate from that small-mindedness, that petty-mindedness, that fear. Okay, we're living in this world, but okay, we have to face horrible situations. Just face them, stop complaining. And when you're called to do something about it, you will do something about it. Be sure you will be called. If you are needed, you will have to do the job. And when you're not needed, you don't need to do the job anymore. It'll be taken away from you. So why worry so much? Just know it is all divine, and truth always wins. Truth. And you know, we come to this world, and Les and I were having a very wonderful conversation early this morning, giggling and laughing about the play called life, because there is so much pain and there is so much joy, and it's all God. And when you can see that, you just laugh at yourself. You go home and yes, you cry and you laugh at yourself. You say, oh my goodness, I got too serious again. And that gives the nectar that Arjuna was speaking about. Oh, thank God you've given me the nectar. I can relax now. I don't have to get so serious in my head. I don't have to have a panic attack. I don't have to control what's happening to the world. It's not in my hands. It's really not in my hands. I can't control it, but we can pray for good, because prayer is positive light. We just give light, that's all. May all be well, may all be well. And that's what we do. And in these classes, when we sit here, we're all in devotion. So we are automatically praying without having to make such an effort, because it's natural love flowing from the heart. And this is why devotion is so important, sincerity is so important, and to focus is so important. Because when your attention is everywhere and you're not focused, you can't get it. You can't get the divine, but you can only focus if you're in this moment.